Hi guys, this is Leela. Welcome to my channel leelawebdev. In the previous video, we have seen the implementation, how we can implement the port forwarding or how we can access the container application outside of the Docker host machine. So we have seen it. So in this video, we will see the practical implementation of this one. In the previous example, I have shown you how we can create the Nginx container and Apache side container and how we can access that one using the port forwarding. I have explained you. In the same examples we'll create the Nginx container and we'll keep the Apache container and we'll try to access both the things outside of our Docker host machine. So let's try to implement this one. So first of all, in order to implement, first I will try to switch on the server. So I think mine is power off. So let's try to switch on, and you know that this one is running with 192.168.1.13. so you know, right? So these all the things we have did it, and now let's try to, we have also fixed this all static IP address and all those things we have did it. Let's try to run it. So the server is getting run. So now we need to install first we need to create the container, that is nothing but Nginx container, and afterward we need to create the Apache container. So first we will create the Nginx container. For this one, first what we need to, so Docker is logged in. So let's try to log in with the SSH actually. So SSH test user @192.168.1.13. So it is asking for the password. So let's try to the password. That's it. So now this is so we have successfully logged in. Now what I want to do it is, so first we need to check the image, whether the Nginx image is there or not. So for that one I am using Docker image ls. So now we are able to see that Nginx image is already present. The latest image is already present. So what I want to do, I want to create a container. So here directly I am creating the container, Docker container run, and I am using detach mode, and I will try to give the name Nginx -demo or Nginx container. Okay, and what I want to do is, right now we need to do the port forwarding, right? I have already explained you that port forwarding, how we can do it. So here I want to do it -p, and here we need to use 8090 port. So this is the port number of the Docker host machine. So from the Docker host machine, which port number I want to bind it, and this and colon, and we need to give the 80 port number. So this is the port number which I want to contact inside from the container, and the container port ID, the left side will be always the Docker host machine port number, and the right side will be the container's port number, and I need to give the last one is the image name. That's it. Now when I press enter, automatically the container will be created. So if you want to check the container details, container ps-a, if you try to see, so we are able to see the Nginx container, and it has been created 7 seconds ago, and the status is 5 seconds ago. And if you see the port number, you will be able to see the port number, right? So 1 second, let's try to. So if you try to see the port number, and this one is something like 0.0.0.8090, and this one is the public port number, and it is accessing with the 80 TCP, right? 8090 to the 80. So here we are able to see this one. And now let's try to delete this container, MySQL container. So for this one, it is already stopped. So Docker container rm, and I can give this container name. Automatically the container will be deleted. So here Docker container ps-a, and now only the Nginx is running, and the port you will be able to see, that is 8090 port from the Docker host machine. It is trying to listen. Now that means we can able to access from the 8090 port number. Now if you try to check it, so let's try to check it. So now for this one, what we can do it is, so I will try to show the AP address show, and here you will be able to see this is the Docker 0 interface, and the Docker 0 interface is connected from the end with the 192.168.1.13. so this is the IP address which you will be having. And if you want to check the localhost loopback, so this is the 127.0.01. So this one is the local loopback IP address, or this is the IP address which will be available for all the local base machines, local machine and the base machine. This is used for the internal testing purpose. So if you try to check your local base machine or anything, you will be having this IP address 127.0.01. So this is used for the internal testing. Now if I want to connect to this one, curl 127.0.0.1 colon 8090, you will be able to see this Nginx and everything is able to get it. So this is how we can access it. That means we are able to access it from the outside. So 127.0. So you can also use this 192.168 also. So that is your IP address. So for this host machine, the IP address 1.13 colon 8090 also you can use it. But so we are using from our Docker host machine, right? So you can use this internal IP address for testing 127.0.0.1 colon 8090. Okay. So now you can able to access. So now Nginx is working fine. So this is, so now we have installed the Docker container. So now we have installed the, what I want to say is Nginx. Now the same scenario we will try to install the Apache also. So for this one what we need to do, so right now we don't have the image, right? Docker image ls. So we don't have the Apache image. So first we need to download the image. So for this one what we need to do is we need to search in the Docker hub. Okay. So let's go to the Docker hub and I will search for the Apache. So what is the name for this one? So now here Apache, if I try to search it, here you will be able to see HTTPD. So actually in Ubuntu and the Debian OS it is called as an Apache 2, whereas in the Red Hat, Fedora and all the remaining Linux operating system it is called as an HTTPD. So that is the reason. So the Docker image is also the name of the HTTPD. Don't think that HTTPD is not an Apache. So normally it is called as an HTTPD in Fedora, Red Hat, Linux type of thing. Only in Ubuntu and Debian type of operating systems it is called as an Apache 2. So let's try to use this image. Now I will show you another process how we can create the container without pulling the image. So I will try to show you. So here you will go here. So I am trying to create the Docker container ps-a, right? So we have created the Nginx container, sorry. So let's try to create it. Docker container run, and I want to run with a detached mode, and I need to give the port number. Okay, and port number is nothing but, so I need to connect to the Docker host machine 8080 with the 80 port number. Don't so this 80 port we cannot use again that 8090 port number again. Why? Because so the Docker host machine will contain only the single IP address will be connected to the single container, so you cannot use like this. Whereas here 80 port you can use it multiple times. Why? Because I already told you, right? The containers are isolated from each other. So each container will have its own IP address and each one will be having its own isolated thing. Because of the kernel namespaces and the C groups, it can have its own IP address and the own ports. So you can use the multiple ports, same ports for different containers. Whereas the Docker host machine, so you should have a single port number connected to a single container only. So one port cannot connect to the multiple containers. So that is the thing you need to understand. Whereas each container will be isolated to each other, so it can have the multiple same ports can be connected to the different containers. So this is one thing you need to understand very clearly. And here we need to give 8080 port number. It should be connected to the 80, and I am using the name. So name is nothing but Apache -container. Okay. And last one is the image I need to give. So image is nothing but HTTPD. So now I haven't downloaded the image, right? First what it will try to do is it will check that the image and unable to find the image HTTPD latest. Now it will try to download the image automatically. So now it is downloading the image. After downloading the image, it will create the container automatically. So instead of pulling the image, so we are directly running the container. It will try to check the image. If it is not, means it will download, and afterwards it will create the container. Now if you try to see Docker image ls, automatically the HTTPD is also downloaded and the container is also created. So if you see Docker container ps-a, and here you will be able to see Apache container also. Now it is listening to the 8080 with the port. Now if I try to check here curl 127.0.0.1 colon 8080 means automatically you will be able to see the output. Now this is all okay, fine. So now can I able to access from the outside? Yes, we can able to access from the outside. So this is our outside base machine, and from the outside if I want to access means 192.168 dot not 13 actually. Yeah, 1380 means automatically the Apache is connected. And for the same thing, if I want to Same thing, if I want to connect to the 1890 means, then so you will be able to see welcome to the Nginx. Now we are able to successfully access the containers outside of our Docker host machine. Now I am able to access the containers from the Nginx container. I am able to access the Docker outside the Docker host machine, and also I am able to access the Apache also outside of the Docker host machine. So this is how we will be doing the port forwarding in our Docker host machine. So hope you understood about this port forwarding. So if you have any doubts or any suggestions, please post the comments below to this video. And if you like this video, please do support me by subscribing to my channel. Thank you.